Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 22. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching. And as always, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. Time is our most valuable gift, and the fact that you're sharing it with me means a tremendous amount to me. So today I want to talk to you about goals, but in a different way than we've been talking about them so far. Here we are, January 21st is the day that this podcast is being recorded. And we have spent a lot of time up to this point talking about the importance of setting goals, the importance of strategies on how we're going to get to the goal, importance of the impact it's going to have when we achieve the goal, and things that we can do to keep ourselves motivated as we move into a new year working towards our new goals. Yet today I want to talk to you about something that's a little different when it comes to goals. So I want you to think about something. I don't know who else out there other than myself has ever had a time when you've actually achieved a goal and there was a bit of a letdown or a bit of a sadness that that goal had been met and you were done. And I think that's a real deal thing that a lot of us experience. And part of it can be because we put so much energy and emphasis on the goal, and we do not allow ourselves to enjoy who we get to be when we set a goal and the journey of getting to that goal. It's really, really important to think about this for a minute. For many of us, we will set a goal, we focus heavily on it, we focus solely on getting to that goal, we achieve the goal, and we immediately go into setting another goal. I know I've done this for myself many, many times, and I didn't quite understand or grasp why I was doing it. I was like, why the second you get to a goal, do you immediately go and set another goal? And I didn't think about it for a while, and it was several years ago that I learned why we do it. You think about when we set our goals for 2024. In that moment when you set the goal is when your brain is actually its most magical that it can be. It allows you to be in a space of creation. It allows you to be in a space of excitement and energy and anticipation and anxiety and possibility and hope for the future. It's a really cool space to be in. And then we switch immediately to gotta get there because I'm only going to be happy if I hit that goal. When I hit that goal, everything in my life is going to be fabulous and in my business is going to be amazing. And I'm going to experience tremendous happiness. When the reality is the amount of happiness and capacity for happiness you have right now is not going to change when you achieve the goal. You bring that with you. Yes, you might experience different things. Yes, you might be able to do things at a higher level, yet your capacity for happiness isn't different now than it will be once you achieve the goal. So a lot of times once we hit that goal and we expect this ta-da moment, we don't have it. And we default back to, well, let's set another goal because that's when my brain feels the best. You see, that's happening to you. It's the energy hormone release that we get in that moment. And so we automatically default to it. So I want to talk to you today about the journey, right? About this journey that we get to go on every time that we set a goal, and to allow ourselves to enjoy the process. I can speak to this. I can remember a couple of examples I'm going to share with you. I remember when I was graduating from university. And if I'm really completely honest and transparent, and God love my mom for sticking by me and pushing me through this, I hated formal education like that. I hated that type of environment. I could not wait to graduate just to get it done. I didn't really care about the diploma, if I'm being completely honest, but it was super important to my family. And so I set the goal to graduate with a bachelor's degree. And if you would have known me when I was in my 20s, the mere fact that I was going to be able to graduate was quite a goal in itself. I can remember the months leading up to my graduation was full of a lot of check-ins. Did I have enough credits? Did I do the right things? Am I meeting the criteria? Am I passing the classes? And then finals week, there's a tremendous pressure because I had to get my diploma. That was the goal. And I will tell you, I enjoyed very little about my college years because I was so consumed with just getting it done and getting a goal. And I remember the day I graduated, I could remember it clear as a bell. And I remember walking across the stage, shaking hands, getting a diploma, being done, and having a party afterwards and celebrating. But I really didn't care. It was a weird thing. There was almost a sadness or a void that was in my life. And my young brain at the time didn't get the correlation to if I set a different goal after that, I would get that sense of purpose again. I just sat with the fact that this goal that I'd been chasing for 5 years, because I was on the 5 year plan for my bachelor's degree, was done. And I really didn't have anything else going on. I was working, but I wasn't old enough or mature enough to be able to think bigger. And that was my first experience of getting to a goal and being somewhat depressed once the goal was achieved. And how weird is that, right? You think about, I couldn't wait to get out. I was finally done. And yet there was a sense of loss at achieving the goal. And it really is who you get to become in the moment that you set a goal. That's where the power and the magic happens. And all of the little accomplishments along the way to getting to that big goal are way more significant than we give it credit for. You see, we're singularly focused on getting it done. We're singularly focused on hitting a number. We're singularly focused on achieving a task. And all the stuff in between doesn't matter. And then we get to the task, and a lot of us don't even celebrate it. It's like, okay, boom, done, next. And that is because the magic again happens when you set a goal and the possibility of what it creates on for who you can become. Another example of this would be when I made a decision to become a professional coach. So I'd been coaching prior to this, but really was doing it in my own way and not in an official capacity with a true organization to be a coach. And so I made a decision, gosh, back in '09 to become a certified coach with this company. And I remember in the moment that I made this goal to become a coach, a real coach. And I made that decision, and no offense to anybody who's been an independent coach for a while, but for me, this was a big deal. And I remember the excitement of it and who I got to be in that moment of setting that goal. It was huge. And I know I was super excited. And then I also know that I started thinking about the strategy to get to that goal. Like, how was I going to get accepted? So I learned what it took. There was models, there was systems that you had to learn and master. It involved a ton of work, a lot of role playing, a lot of reading, a lot of studying, a lot of knowing models and systems. And then you had to audition. And once you auditioned, you had to wait to see if you passed the audition. And then they had to present you to the basically executive committee for approval to offer you a position. And I can remember the excitement of making the decision to become a coach. And then everything in between was kind of a blur. And I just push. And then I did the audition, and then I got to be a coach. And I spent very little time celebrating the fact that I hit that goal before I immediately set another goal. My next goal was, how do I become one of their top coaches? And that became my next goal. And how do I get my first 5 clients? That became my next goal, because the excitement of who you get to be when you set a goal is really the magic. It is actually more powerful than when you achieve the goal. So this is what we tend to do as humans and entrepreneurs in our business world, is enjoy the excitement of setting a goal, push, don't enjoy, get to the goal. Okay, great, I did it, boom, let's go and move on to the next goal. And that really is unfortunate. I compare this a bit to this philosophy or belief about destination addiction. I'll be happy when I get the Mercedes. I'll feel accomplished when I can buy the big house in the suburbs or the high rise condo in downtown. I will feel like I have arrived when I have my first $1 million in the bank. But that's what we're chasing, that destination addiction. And same thing, I believe, is similar to what's happening to us about our goals. There's this addiction to getting to the goal and ignoring everything on the journey. All of the great things that happen on the way to getting to your goal, all of the great failures that happen along the way to getting to your goal are all really valuable and cause for celebration. Yet we ignore those because we're singularly focused on the end result. We're singularly focused on getting the Mercedes. We're singularly focused on buying that high-rise condo. We're singularly focused on the 7 figures in our bank account. We're so obsessed with it that we forget about everything else along the way. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just reflect back on things for a moment, because this is what I love. What you're living today was most likely a dream you had 3 years ago. One of my favorite mentors always says that we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 3. Or 5. I like to go back 3 to 5 years and say, what was your dream? What was your goal? And chances are you're living it right now. But all of the things that you accomplished in between it and where you are now, we most likely didn't pause and celebrate. So I want you to think about a goal or big goal that you achieved in the last 3 years. And I want you to sit with that goal for a moment, because I want us to celebrate it and I want us to acknowledge it. And I want us to really think about all of the great things that happened on the journey to the goal. That's where the juice and the magic really lies. So, for instance, I think about becoming that coach with that company. Okay, that happened, my gosh, 13 years ago. And the first question I would ask myself about that, because I really didn't stop and celebrate it, I just blew right through it, moved to the next goal, was really just ask yourself, what did I just do here? And when I really think about it, I achieved what a lot of people never achieve. I got accepted into this coaching division. That was not easy to get into. That's what just happened. And I sit with that and I think about how grateful and the amount of gratitude I have for that, because that was so important. And honestly, it was my passion. Clearly, here I am still coaching. How did I do it? I want to think about that. How did I do it? This is the journey part that we tend to ignore. Well, I did it by sheer drive and motivation. I did it by studying and being open to new models and new ways and learning different systems that really allowed this coaching company to be the best coaching company in the world. How hard was it? It was really hard. It was really hard. The hours and the amount of time it took to study and to uh, perfect what they were looking for, that was hard, but it was a win. And then what about this makes me really proud of me? Those are the questions I would ask you to think about. So for me, what made me so proud was I set the goal and I achieved it. To this day, I'm really proud of the fact that I got accepted into that program. It was big. And it was the thing that changed the trajectory of my coaching career. But I also need to sit with what the lessons were that I learned on the journey that were failures. And I know we resist this word, and you heard me in a previous podcast, say, I hope you fail. And I mean it, but this is what I want us to do when we're celebrating the achievement of a goal. We first looked at those couple of questions about how did I get here? How did I do it? How hard was it? What am I most proud of? But now I want you to sit there and ask yourself and reflect on what happened during that process that you did not anticipate. So for me, in that process of becoming a coach with the coaching company, what happened that I didn't anticipate was that there was a more effective way to coach. There was a better way to coach than the way I was coaching. And it was in that moment that I learned I had a lot to learn about being a coach. What happened that I didn't anticipate? I think for me, what happened during that time that I didn't anticipate was the humility that I experienced in thinking I thought I was a great coach. And what happened that I didn't anticipate was the eye opening that there was so much more opportunity for me to grow and to become a better coach. What challenges and failures did I learn? Oh my gosh. The challenges and failures were learning new material, role playing and practicing, and failing when I did those role plays because I wasn't quite grasping the true model that they were teaching. And then lastly, what did I need to change for my future growth and success? And this was a big lesson, was just becoming more open to other ways of doing things. So that is a very different way of celebrating achieving that goal. And I promise you, most of us don't do it. And again, the dopamine, the energy, the hormone release really happens more on the setting side of the goal than it does in achieving. And that's why we tend to just blow right through it. But I want you to, again, reflect on some significant goals that you've made in the past and ask yourself these powerful questions, because these are the keys to you moving forward and achieving future goals. But what's really important is this makes you reflect upon the journey. Now, here's one I want to challenge you and I want to invite you to think about. I don't want us to do this every time we hit a goal, is to pause and do the reflection. I really want to invite you to figure out a way that you can learn those things and ask yourself those things and be present in the journey now, not December of 2024 when we've achieved our goal, then to sit back and go, oh my gosh, what did I learn? What was great? What didn't work? No, we need to be celebrating that part of the journey as it's happening. That is where a lot of the magic is going to happen. And what we tend to not do is look at the wins. So, just an example, I've been coaching real estate agents for a really long time. And many agents, entrepreneurs, will set a goal that requires them to do more of or a different activity than they've ever done in the past to generate a lead. And what will happen is in the first month of the year, like we're in right now, they will actually be doing the activity, but maybe not receiving the result that they thought. And all that they focus on, because the goal was to get a lead, is what didn't happen, versus taking a moment to celebrate. Okay, it's Friday. This week for 5 days, I was consistent and committed in my activity of having 15 conversations a day of leading to a lead, and celebrate that. What did I just do? How did I do it? How hard was it? What about this makes me really proud of me? And then what happened that I didn't anticipate happening? What challenges and failures did I learn from? What do I need to change for continued growth and success? You see, we want to wait to the end and go backwards and try to learn versus learning in the moment on the journey. And what this allows you to do, if you do it in the moment of the journey, is to continue to get those releases of dopamine and the happy hormone, because you're acknowledging what you did well, you're acknowledging your failures, and you're setting another goal for the next week or the next month. This is where the magic can happen. So don't fall prey to that destination addiction or that goal addiction and not really embrace and enjoy the process. I think back to that original example I gave you of me graduating from university. I was so fixated on getting that diploma and getting it done. And I was so fixated on everything I did not like about the formal education experience that I really don't have a lot of great memories of the journey until I stopped and made myself go back and ask those questions. And then I got to see there were a lot of joy moments along the way that I ignored because I was so focused on, once I get my diploma, I got my freedom. Once I get my diploma, I can go do whatever I want. Once I do this, and I put so much weight on getting to that destination of that goal. A couple things I want you to take away from today. Who you become when you set a goal is the coolest thing in the world. It is when you get to lean into the magic of your brain and lean into the magic of what can happen and everything that is possible in your world. Do not negate that and just jump into the activity without little celebrations along the way. And then when you actually get to the goal and hit it, take a moment and celebrate. It could be 10 minutes that you take and you celebrate and you ask yourself the questions that I've asked you, or it can be a big grand celebration. Maybe you do a nice dinner celebration. Maybe you go buy yourself something really nice to celebrate hitting the goal. But I don't think that we sit long enough with that to learn the power of what we did to get there. And it wasn't just getting the joy of hitting the goal, it was the joy of the journey of getting there. When you do this, here's my promise to you, and this is why this is so important. When you celebrate along the way and you celebrate the journey, it will keep you in a space of momentum and a space of gratitude. And it's so much easier to achieve the bigger goal when you're doing that versus focusing on the frustration of what you're not doing, focusing on the frustration of what didn't go right, focusing on the fact that you didn't hit your goal for the week, which was going to not let you hit your goal for the year. That is what can derail you. And that is what derails so many people because they hold on to the space that I'm not worth anything until I get to that goal. I'm not doing anything of value or importance if I don't get to that goal. And you rob yourself of so many great experiences along the way. So do yourself a favor, take a look back, reflect on a couple of big goals that you've achieved, acknowledge them, celebrate them, ask the questions, learn from it, really show yourself some grace and some gratitude that you were able to achieve it. Acknowledge the fact that the life you're living today was a dream of yours years ago, and you're actually here living it. Enjoy that. And do not get stuck in destination addiction. I promise you, your capacity for happiness will not change when you make your first million. You have the same capacity for happiness then as you do now. Yes, circumstances might be different. Yes, things might be easier, but your capacity for happiness is not going to change. Your capacity for happiness is demonstrated along the way in the journey. Enjoy every step of the way. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please reach out to me directly. If you're struggling with this, if you're struggling with how do I enjoy the journey, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you out. If you enjoy what you're hearing here, please join us in one of our programs at reTHINK Coaching. I promise you, investing in yourself and learning how to think differently along your way to getting to your goal will be a game changer for you. Share this with anybody that you think needs to hear this message. If you need clarity, please reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram, Tony M. Caliendo. I share a lot of great tidbits of success and information there. And I cannot wait to see you guys and talk to you guys again next week. Go make it a great week. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for being here. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.